Kate, hi all. A very belated Happy New Year. Richard Neal, CEO of Suffolk FA. I wanted to make this month's vlog virtually exclusively about sin bins. Sin bins, and we've read some messages on Twitter that there's some nervousness about sin bins coming in next year. Confirmation that sin bins will come in at step 7 and below, all the way through youth football of the male game and tier 4 of the female game and below, and will come in at all the relevant county cup competitions as well. So that will definitely start, sin bins will definitely start as from the start of next season in all of those leagues. There's some discussion about whether to introduce them for next season at step 5 and 6, and that decision is due in March. If not, then sin bins will definitely come in for the following season, 2019-20, at step 5 and 6. And it's probably the most significant change in the rules of the game that many of us will have experienced for an awful long time. And we'll all be nervous about the implementation of it. As I said, such a big change. There's likely to be some short-term pain while we all get used to how sin bins work, how referees indicate that a player is in the sin bin, what it means for the totting up of yellow cards or cautions against players. Like I say, there's likely to be some short-term pain as we all get used to the process around sin bins. But I wanted to concentrate on the premise and the reason why sin bins have been introduced. And I don't think you can argue with the premise. In March 2017, IFAB, the International Football Association Board, gave all national football associations the opportunity to introduce what they call temporary dismissals, we call sin bins, for either all cautions, no cautions, or some cautions and selected cautions. The FA, when they looked at the 7 cautionable offences, there's one that is for behavioural reasons, that people get cautioned for behavioural reasons, and that's dissent. And that's one that the FA, when they introduced it, felt that could be controlled and could be done better. In total, for dissent, in previous seasons, that's cost about £730,000 across the game in fines and administration fees for players who have received cautions for dissent. And I've read somewhere that there's some people that are saying that sin bins is another money-making scheme for the FA. Actually, this is completely the opposite. So what sin bins will do is there's no charge. The dismissal, temporary dismissal that occurs during the game, will be the punishment, and all the punishment. You get your 10 minutes off for a 90-minute game. If you're playing less than 90 minutes, then your sin bin period will be 8 minutes. And then you come back on and you play, and then that does go towards a kind of yellow card on your totting up, numbers of yellow cards. But from a financial perspective, that's it done. There's no charge, there's no fee, there's no fine or anything like that. That's just the sanction completed at the game. So, which means in total, £730,000 will be saved in players' and clubs' pockets per season. That can't be a bad thing. First and foremost, let's stick to the finances for now. That can't be a bad thing. That's a reinvestment by the FA back into the game. The premise of it, in terms of why it's introduced for dissent in particular, is abuse is one of the scourges of our game. It's inherent within our game, as in shown within the professional ranks, or kind of exemplified within the professional ranks, with the Raheem Sterling case that was kind of came to light over Christmas. And every time I go to a game, every time we all will be involved in a game, might not be really kind of heavy and bad abuse of referees, but the constant barracking of referees on their decisions is something that has to be stopped, is something that has to be prevented, because it's creating a negative atmosphere around our game, and it's causing people to cease their involvement in the game. So something has to be done. And in the leagues that have piloted, there's 31 leagues last season that piloted sin bins. They saw a 38% reduction in dissent overall, which is a huge number, a huge amount. They also saw a result of that, a reduction in second yellow card dismissals, a reduction in abusive language, full stop, and I've obviously mentioned the finances. So if the evidence suggests, and has been shown within the leagues that have been involved in the pilot, the closest to us is the Angling Combination League, which operates across kind of Norfolk and Cambridgeshire and Suffolk border. If the evidence is that it creates a better atmosphere within leagues, then that must be good for everybody. It will be good for the officials themselves. It will be good for the players, who can then just concentrate on their game and play better. It will be good for managers and teams, so that the atmosphere created around the game is much more positive, much more supportive, and much more nurturing. There's obviously a huge amount of training that will be required to ensure that we are ready, because no competition in Suffolk includes sin bins at the moment, other than those teams who are playing in the Anglian combination. There's obviously a huge amount of training that needs to be done with league officials, club officials, managers, players, referees, and some of our staff, to ensure that we're ready for the start of next season, so that we can ensure that that pain that I talked about earlier is as kind of easy as possible. And we're just starting discussions with all of Suffolk leagues now to begin to look at how we can roll out that training to everybody that we've just mentioned, to ensure that from July, ready for pre-season friendlies, we're good to start with sin bins. So there'll be more information come out, whether that's through us or through your leagues, very, very soon. And hopefully that training programme will start with some leagues sooner rather than later. But hopefully that dispels some of the myths around sin bins. Hopefully that provides some more information. You're very welcome to contact the county office if you want any more information. But as I said, more will come out through your leagues in due course. So we're up to the quarter-final stages of all the Suffolk County Cups. We're working really hard to get the finals and semi-finals dates, venues, and draw notification. Working really hard to get those sorted and out in time for the quarter-finals of all of the cups. So please keep an eye out on Suffolk FA social media and website for any notices that come out about that. We've also had the Groundsman of the Year competition out and running and available for application for a couple of weeks now. That closes on Wednesday the 6th of February, so please get your applications in for that competition as soon as possible. And we've also had Just Play funding available now for a little while. That continues and is available for application on the Suffolk FA website. Otherwise, hope the weather stays fine, hope you continue to get games in, and we'll look forward to speaking again next month.